Director Patel, you're familiar with the Fifth Amendment.
Yes, Senator.
And it is really the freedom clause of the United States. It was 4 years into being a nation when Congress and the states said, hey, we have to make sure that there's not an over-aggressive government in the future that deprives us of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. And you're familiar that that applies to all persons in the United States.
Yes, Senator.
So there's been a lot of concern about the several hundred immigrants who were swept off the streets of America and sent to El Salvador without due process. And does that concern you?
Senator, I'm not in a position to comment on whether or not they were given or not given due process or are supposed to be afforded due process. All the FBI did and all the FBI will continue to do is arrest those that have violated the law.
Okay, but to arrest, you have to investigate. Have you launched an investigation of this violation of the Freedom Clause of the U.S. Constitution?
Senator, I don't know that I agree with your characterization.
Well, that was my first question, whether or not you agree with the Fifth Amendment and are prepared to defend it. It is your job to investigate crimes.
Yes, I agree with the Fifth Amendment. I agree with the entire Constitution, and the men and women at the FBI decide.
So are you going to launch an investigation of the reported violation of the due process of several hundred individuals?
Again, Senator, it's not for me to call the balls and strikes on it. The men and women at the FBI who are trained to open investigations will make those calls.
So you have no influence over whether an investigation is opened?
I have influence over it, but you're asking me a constitutional question. I'm not a constitutional scholar.
Well, it's actually not it's a question also of law.
But your position is that every one of those individuals is by constitutional right afforded due process. I don't know the answer to that. I'm telling you.
You haven't read the Constitution?
I've got it, all persons. I've got it right here, but what you're saying is that every single one of the illegals that was sent down to El Salvador is supposed to be given due process pursuant.
Yeah, that's what the Constitution says.
It doesn't say that.
It does say no person. Yeah, I'll encourage you to read it.
Hi, this is Rachel Israel with STEM News and Global World Report. We have breaking news that will have a huge impact on the global scene in the very near future. Let's take a look at what's going on around the world.
In Massachusetts, Attorney General Andrea Joy Campbell is at the forefront of a heated debate over immigrant rights and federal authority. The AG is the state's top law enforcement officer, protecting residents and defending state interests, especially when state and federal policies collide. With immigration policy dominating headlines, the AG's actions directly impact public safety, constitutional rights, and trust in law enforcement. Campbell and other AGs use lawsuits, legal guidance, and advocacy to push back against federal overreach, defending the rule of law for all residents. The outcome affects daily life, whether families feel safe, whether people seek medical care, and how police serve their communities. Birthright citizenship, a cornerstone of American identity, guaranteed unequivocally by the 14th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, is now under a significant threat, facing proposals that aim to revoke or redefine it, potentially through executive action. Attorney General Campbell, recognizing the gravity of the situation, has proactively joined a broad coalition of attorneys general from across the nation, preparing to argue before the Supreme Court, asserting that fundamental constitutional rights, once established, cannot be unilaterally dismantled or altered by any single branch of government acting alone. This legal battle transcends mere immigration policy. It's fundamentally about defending the very foundation and core principles of American democracy and the rule of law. State attorneys general play a crucial role, serving as a vital check on potential overreach of federal power. utilizing the judicial system and the courts to challenge federal actions and policies they deem unlawful or unconstitutional. Campbell firmly insists that this is a constitutional matter, not a partisan political issue, emphatically affirming that enduring laws and constitutional principles, not fleeting political whims or agendas, should ultimately define our nation and its values. The ultimate outcome of this landmark case will profoundly shape the future and opportunities for countless families across the country, and will fundamentally redefine the very meaning and scope of American citizenship for generations to come. It serves as a powerful reminder that the critical work of defending constitutional rights and liberties often begins not in the halls of Congress, but in state houses and local courtrooms, underscoring that vigilance and advocacy are essential at all levels of government, not just in Washington, D.C. On the streets of Massachusetts, a concerning trend has emerged. ICE enforcement tactics, including the use of agents in unmarked vehicles, have raised serious questions. The presence of officers in masks, often without clear identification badges, has sown fear, uncertainty, and a deep sense of confusion within our communities. This lack of transparency in federal immigration enforcement not only undermines trust in all law enforcement agencies, both federal and local, but also significantly complicates the vital work of local police departments. Public safety fundamentally depends on trust and open communication between law enforcement and the people they serve. However, these aggressive federal tactics, while intended to enforce immigration law, threaten to erode years of hard-won progress in building strong community policing initiatives. The chilling effect of these actions is very real. Parents now fear the simple act of school drop-offs, and individuals are actively avoiding hospitals and medical facilities, thereby risking serious public health consequences. The Attorney General's office is actively responding by empowering residents with crucial information about their fundamental rights and providing clear guidance on what to expect during potential ICE encounters. These public guidance initiatives and readily available legal resources aim to restore a sense of safety, security, and predictability for all communities, especially those caught in the crossfire of federal immigration enforcement. The ultimate goal is to ensure that federal immigration policy is implemented in a way that does not come at the unacceptable cost of local public safety and community well-being. The Supremacy Clause, a cornerstone of our legal system, means federal law trumps state law, creating a hierarchy where national statutes and regulations take precedence. This principle is vital for maintaining consistency and preventing conflicting laws across different states. This legal framework makes it particularly challenging for state attorneys general to directly regulate federal entities like ICE, immigration, and customs enforcement. ICE possesses significant authority, including the power to detain individuals based on administrative warrants, which are issued internally by the agency itself and, crucially, not by a judge. This system grants immigration agents broad power in enforcing federal immigration laws. Consequently, state officials' attempts to intervene in federal immigration matters are often blocked by the doctrine of federal supremacy, which limits the scope of state action in areas where the federal government has jurisdiction. This legal constraint limits direct action that state officials can take. Therefore, the AG strategy focuses on providing guidance and resources to local institutions, empowering them to navigate complex immigration issues. They also support legal challenges to potentially unlawful immigration practices and advocate tirelessly for due process rights for all individuals, regardless of immigration status. Increasing access to competent immigration lawyers is one crucial way the office fights for fairness and ensures that everyone has a chance to present their case effectively. Campbell stresses that real, lasting change requires active civic engagement from all members of the community, because federal policy, ultimately, is shaped by the collective voice of voters and sustained public pressure on elected officials. The inherent limits of state power underscore and highlight the critical need for an active, informed electorate that participates in shaping the policies that affect their lives. The AG's office issues clear guidance to help residents and institutions understand their rights during federal enforcement. Legal resources empower people to protect themselves and their families. The office supports laws like eviction record sealing, giving vulnerable residents, including immigrants, a second chance at stable housing. The AG prosecutes crimes while fostering trust, ensuring public safety for all, regardless of immigration status. This approach contrasts with federal tactics that create fear and silence victims. The AG urges everyone to get involved, learn your rights, use available resources, and participate in democracy. Ultimately, shaping safer, fairer communities depends on all of us.
Join me as I dive deep into the controversial question, does ICE operate above the law? Let's find out together. The issue of whether ICE operates above the law is critical for many communities, particularly those with a high population of immigrants. The fear of deportation and family separation has led to a sense of unease and mistrust towards ICE agents. This concern is not just about the agency's role in enforcing immigration laws, but also about the methods they use and the potential for overreach. There are several concerns and controversies surrounding ICE's practices. One major issue is the use of raids and mass arrests, which have led to allegations of human rights abuses. Additionally, the agency's policy of separating families at the border has sparked outrage and condemnation from human rights groups. The implications of these actions are far-reaching, affecting not only individuals but also entire communities. Furthermore, the lack of transparency and accountability within ICE has fueled speculation about their activities and motivations. This has led to calls for greater oversight and reform. Specific cases have highlighted the complexities of ICE's actions. For example, the 2018 family separation policy led to widespread criticism and lawsuits. While some argue that ICE was simply enforcing the law, others claim that they went too far and disregarded human rights. In some cases, courts have ruled that ICE's actions were unlawful, but the agency has also faced challenges in being held accountable. These cases illustrate the gray areas surrounding ICE's authority and the need for clearer guidelines and oversight. A significant event that sheds light on ICE's authority is the 2019 court ruling that deemed the agency's actions at the border as unlawful. This ruling highlighted the need for ICE to be held accountable for their actions and to operate within the bounds of the law. Moreover, investigations into ICE's activities have revealed a pattern of potential overreach and abuse of power. These findings have sparked renewed calls for reform and greater transparency within the agency. The event serves as a pivotal moment in understanding ICE's authority and the need for accountability. In conclusion, the question of whether ICE operates above the law remains a pressing concern. It's essential that entities like ICE are held accountable to the law, ensuring that their actions are transparent, lawful, and respectful of human rights. If you have thoughts on ICE's operations, share them with me in the comments below. For more insights into critical issues like this, be sure to check out my other videos.
Well, that's the news for tonight. Thank you so much for continually supporting our content. If you did enjoy this video, hit the thumbs up button, subscribe and turn on the notification bell, and share this with your friends and family. I'm sure they would find it interesting as well. We're very excited to continue this journey with you. We thank you all for bringing certain stories to our attention, and for continually keeping us updated with certain events around the world.